For through the Scriptures we are instructed in two advents of the Christ and Saviour. And the first after the flesh was in humiliation, because he was manifested in lowly estate. So then his second advent is declared to be in glory, for he comes from heaven with power, and angels, and the glory of his Father. His first advent had John the Baptist as its forerunner, and his second, in which he is to come in glory, will exhibit Enoch, and Elias, and John the Divine. Behold too, the Lord's kindness to man, how even in the last times he shows his care for mortals, and pities them. For he will not leave us even then without prophets, but will send them to us for our instruction and assurance, and to make us give heed to the advent of the adversary, as he intimated also of old in this Daniel. For he says, I shall make a covenant of 1 week, and in the midst of the week my sacrifice and libation will be removed. For by 1 week he indicates the showing forth of the 7 years which shall be in the last times. And the half of the week the 2 prophets, along with John, will take for the purpose of proclaiming to all the world the advent of Antichrist, that is to say, for 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. Revelation 11:3. And they will work signs and wonders with the object of making men ashamed and repentant, even by these means, on account of their surpassing lawlessness and impiety. And if any man will hurt them, fire will proceed out of their mouth, and devour their enemies. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of the advent of Antichrist, and to turn waters into blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they have proclaimed all these things they will fall on the sword, cut off by the accuser. And they will fulfill their testimony, as Daniel also says, for he foresaw that the beast, that came up out of the abyss, would make war with them, namely with Enoch, Elias, and John, and would overcome them, and kill them, because of their refusal to give glory to the accuser. That is the little horn that sprang up. And he, being lifted up in heart, begins in the end to exalt himself and glorify himself as God, persecuting the saints and blaspheming Christ. Of such kind, in the time of that hater of all good, will be the seal, the tenor of which will be this: I deny the Maker of heaven and earth, I deny the baptism, I deny my former service, and attach myself to you, and I believe in you. For this is what the prophets Enoch and Elias will preach: believe not the enemy who is to come and be seen. For he is an adversary and corrupter and son of perdition, and deceives you. And for this reason he will kill you, and smite them with the sword. Behold the deceit of the enemy, know the machinations of the beguiler, how he seeks to darken the mind of men utterly. For he will show forth his demons brilliant like angels, and he will bring in hosts of the incorporeal without number. And in the presence of all he exhibits himself as taken up into heaven with trumpets and sounds, and the mighty shouting of those who hail him with indescribable hymns. The air of darkness himself shining like light, and at one time soaring to the heavens, and at another descending to the earth with great glory, and again charging the demons, like angels, to execute his behests with much fear and trembling. Then will he send the cohorts of the demons among mountains, and caves and dens of the earth, to track out those who have been concealed from his eyes, and to bring them forward to worship him. And those who yield to him, he will seal with his seal. But those who refuse to submit to him, he will consume with incomparable pains and bitterest torments and machinations, such as never have been, nor have reached the ear of man, nor have been seen by the eye of mortals.